Like, today, I don't know why, it's just a good day. You hear all that stuff in the background, y'all? As soon as I start talking, like someone thinking about the rain on your parade, but it's sunny outside. Someone want to overtalk you, or do something. They want to feel as though they're doing more than you or something like that. I don't know why. This is something in regards to like competition energy or something like that. We give no F's. I'm just saying, like, this morning I woke up. Well, I woke up from my nap this morning. I had a particular dream, and when I woke, like the dream I had, because like somebody hasn't been wanting me to see something in the dream state, and I've been just cooling, I've been chilling, because it's like whatever they don't want me to see, they don't want me to see it before it actually happens, come into reality. So that obviously means it's something good, obviously for me, not for them. So somebody think, all right, if they don't dream about this particular thing, it's not gonna manifest. No, that's not how it works. If you're trying to not let me see something in the dream state on purpose, then it's like you're going against the natural communication lines with God, and then dreams is not the only communication a person can have with God. So I'm just like, I just be like, when the enemies just be doing stuff, it's just like you just doing a whole bunch of nothing. You know how people can just do a whole bunch of nothing? I'm talking about when enemies do a whole bunch of nothing, it's like they just did something that had nothing to do with them or what they got going on, their career, their destiny, their life, what they do on a day-to-day basis, got everything to do about you, not themselves. And this is why there's a whole bunch of nothing. You just looking at them like the keyword was pathetic. Anywho, so I woke up this morning, that happened, and that's been happening for like the prior week or whatever. I haven't really been upset about it because God still speaks. It don't got to just be in the dream state. If you really pay attention to the American Heritage Society classes we've been talking about, the dream catchers, every kind of message. I tell y'all all the time, like if you really have go to church, have a good spiritual advisor, someone who teaches you the right things in regards to the teachings of the Bible, you would know that God really views the dream state like channeling messages, whether prophetic, prophecy, whatever. The dream state is really for the stubborn people. I'm gonna keep reiterating that. The people who stubborn to not know how to communicate, have their own relationship with God without being interpreted in dreams, and then then there be people who don't even know how to interpret their own dreams. So it's just be like when I say an enemy be just doing a whole bunch of nothing for no reason, it's very comical. It's very comical. Like what would you want me to do? Be angry, upset, sad with you? No, of course not. So like I said, so I woke up this morning from having a dream, kind of like a premonition, and when I was watching what was going on in the dream state, I was just like, so this the first dream out of a week. I ain't have no dream that this is what's going on. Like in the dream, it was so funny. I'm gonna talk about it later, so I'll talk about it here. In the dream, it was so funny because like it was two different scenarios. Cause the dream had so something about the embodiment of Sagittarius. Parents should traveling for sure. Like somewhere, someone had to go somewhere. I don't know. Somebody needed direction, guidance. Whatever the case may be in a particular situation. But when the dream like went to the second part of the dreams where this transportation of some sort, this traveling of some sort had happened. It was two people in a situation. Well, it was three actually, but it was two people in a situation that was traveling together, and then they came to a particular location, and there was another person guarding the entrance to a particular place. And doors in regards to like new opportunities, miracles, blessings, things like that. And this person was trying to guard the door. Like the crazy part is, I knew the person did not own the vicinity. It's just somebody was just like was leaving. Somebody was leaving from somewhere, and then they seen two other people trying to come up there, and they was like, They was like, I hope this person don't come. The person was leaving the vicinity talk about hope the other people don't come inside. Like what? What are you talking about? Like, and then and did. I just was like, that was so. I like. You know what? I don't even mad at the dream for real. Like it was very funny, very very comical. But you know, I think it was just like an example to show. You know, the enemy wants you to do something, but God says otherwise. Can I get an amen? Anywho's, I didn't come on here to talk about the dream I had this morning. What happened after the dream is like, after I had this dream, a big burst of energy was like, not that I didn't have any energy, but I had got a lot more of it, and I just got so happy. I'm like, yes. Then I got inspired to do something that I wasn't. It wasn't scheduled. Yep, it wasn't scheduled until the end of this week to do something that I already was planning to do at the end of the week. But God was like, no, do it now. So I'm like, all right. And then it's just been a good morning. So I was just like, all right. In regards to creative endeavors and stuff like that. So good. It's been a really good morning. But the reason I'm bringing all this up, though, the real reason I'm bringing all this up, right? Is in regards to what happened like 5-10 minutes ago, yo. I'm like, all right, I did all this great stuff, I did creative endeavors. The week is going as planned, very much on schedule. I had uploaded the second class. You heard that car just like about to scrape off the bottom of his whatever bumper, whatever was going on that car in the background of, that we heard in this video. Whether you heard it or not, I heard it. Like someone is damn near like hurting themselves trying to stop you. Like, been told you I've been trying to do the American Heritage Society classes for you guys, so we could talk about different topics and more in a more educational way. But for a reason, it was always something that was trying to stop me from doing it, stop me from doing it, stop me from doing it. And I'm just like, at first, I'm just like, all right, whatever. All right, whatever. I'm like, wait, hold on. This is not right. This is not a coincidence. I'm like, all right. I started paying attention. We talked about it on the channel about what was going on in that scenario. So now I actually did it. The first class was pretty good. I talked to you guys yesterday. I decided to do an early class, and you know what? Symbolically, it made sense in regards to the topic. Either y'all wasn't awake and up, but I'm up now, so what up? All right, y'all in the comment section. All right, now let's talk. Cause I didn't even get into the message. Cause you know I like a good story time, moral in the story before we get into what we're gonna talk about. Cause God has an interesting way of how like making certain things connect. Y'all. So I went to go grab a few things from the store before I came to come do this message or whatever, and I saw this man on the ground. But before I seen the man on the ground, I saw the ambulance. Now you know the ambulance, even symbolically, usually they have that symbolism on the truck and stuff like that in regards to the angelic realm. Um, I wouldn't necessarily say like guardian angel or angel of some sort. So I'm seeing it, so I'm like, who they picking up? You feel me? So I'm just like, you know, not trying to be too nosy. I kind of want to get out the way, what was going on. Then I knew the person. The way I knew the person is what makes the situation more interesting, right? The guy on the floor, he looked disoriented. He got these holes in his pants near the buttocks. We're not going to even get into that topic. You already know how I feel, my own personal bias. And you know, it's two women coming to help the man. Two Caucasian women at that. Coming to help the man out the ambulance and stuff like that. He act like, let me not say act like, present himself to be disoriented. That's all I'm saying. I don't know who looking for a threesome out here, but it ain't me. But no, it's not even that. It's like really that's for the people who minds in the gutter. If you into that, you into that. I ain't. Now, it could be two women coming into a situation in regards to a man that could have did something. I'm not gonna say necessarily wasn't supposed to do. The only reason I'm bringing this particular man up, and like I'm not trying to make jokes about his situation because I don't know what happened before. I seen what was going on with the ambulance coming, but there's a particular dream I had, a particular prior experience with the same person that I feel like, all right, maybe there's like a message to it that God like wants to talk about or conversate about with y'all. Two women and one man. The woman look very, not because they Caucasian, but they look very vibrant, like in good spirits. And that's, I ain't gonna hold you. If you down bad, you sickly. Not saying that anybody should be attaching themselves to unclean spirits, but what I'm saying is that I rebuke it. What I'm saying though is, you would hope that if you was down bad, you was in a bad position, that someone with that type of energy would come to the rescue. No funny, not saying like they supposed to save you or anything like that, but if you need some advice, some help, something like that, you will hope that person don't got unclean spirits on them. They not looking disoriented like how he was looking. You want somebody. So there's something about like energy harvesting too in regards to that. But I'm just honorable mention, keep it noted. Now, why it's significant is, how do I know this man, and why did I mind my business? You might ask. Y'all, I don't really know this man. This man be around the neighborhood, whatever the case may be. Never really spoke to him. Just see the person around. It was a few years ago. Honestly, back when I was like, I was doing some sort of entertainment work, and all I'm gonna say is the hours that I was traveling wasn't like the most best time hours for a lady like myself to be traveling. I'm gonna just put it like that. And we kind of crossed paths, like in the sense of like I was going one direction, he was going a different direction, and then like for a moment we kind of seen each other or whatever the case may be. I'm not thinking of the other. I'm just trying to get to my destination. You know, I did what I had to do for the day. I had fun, and then I wanted to go, in the house, and then start my next day, and then do something else good, right? I'm not worried about this man. I see him about all the time. It didn't make a difference what time it was of the day. Like it was just all right, whatever. He was and seemed intoxicated, just like he seemed intoxicated just now when I seen him before he was picked up. He started yelling and screaming at me. Honestly, I ain't gonna hold you. Even before this spiritual platform, even before these conversations we have it on here, stuff like that, and I did my own research on stuff and stuff like that for me to even have these conversations with y'all. I knew when I seen that man, like he looked like he was like possessed or something. Like he's like due to the intoxication. Because like I ain't never seen him act that way before. The stuff that he was saying, he was yelling and saying stuff. I don't remember. Like, to be honest, it was so different from what I was used to from his character that it made me upset. I ain't even gonna hold you, and then it was like the time of day. I was just like, oh nah. I'm like, I just had a good day. You're not gonna, you know. Anyways, no shade. And to be honest, like, you never know what people are going through and stuff like that. So I usually don't like to be rude, but the fact that he just started like that, I was just like, So I was just like, I said my little one too. He started trying to approach me aggressively. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, sir, do you know where you at? I'm looking around, I'm like, do you know where you at right now? But he started trying to create a diversion. Like when he got caught up, he like it's like by me just saying something made the person who's acting belligerent, even if they were intoxicated and couldn't perceive like subconscious from consciousness, right? What I said made this person come back into consciousness to realize they're doing something like for no reason. It didn't make any sense. They kind of feel foolish. I probably or be because like you're not about to come to me in that energy, you know. So, anywho, he went about tried to create some sort of diversion, and then I guess that. mm, Oh my God, I'm not gonna say that, but that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, cause I ain't gonna talk about nobody when they down, like, but you never really know people. So, um, so fast forward for this situation, it's something about that perspective in regards to what's going on in somebody's life in regards to two people. I don't know, like it's giving that reference like two women came to a man like they was an angel. But it's something about one of the women in particular or a third party in regards to this man, something about the embodiment of Pisces. Not the zodiac, the embodiment, like things you like. But obviously if the guy was I don't wanna say targeting, but like was communicating with this woman in such an aggressive behavior in one parallel, it's like things you wouldn't like. So some sort. So that wouldn't be because I'm talking birth chart now. If you want to get into your birth charts and stuff, that wouldn't be Pisces because Pisces should be what you like, even though it's in the 12th house. If your 12th house is in Pisces, then that's something. But then if your Pisces is somewhere else, you gotta look into the symbolic meaning of what that is because it could give you some indication. Even your Lilith zodiac sign placement. Because with Lilith, you can alchemize it, but with knowing that Lilith is the opposite of what you would like in regards to wherever Pisces is in your birth chart, if you know, you know. So now, obviously, the woman in that perception would not like what the man was doing to her. So I found that quite interesting. We are talking about in the comment section. Thanks, Hudson. mm. I got a message about this person in the comment section, but I ain't gonna do it to you. You can exit stage left if it's negativity. Mm. Well, you know what? Let's get into the actual message we want to talk about today. I don't want to keep it too long. It shouldn't be that long. Mm. I'm gonna have to look some things up. I ain't even gonna hold because there's certain things I just want to get the actual definition of, so we can discuss some more. Um, all right, we getting more people in. Come on in here. Interesting. This is almost like somebody want to keep you all to themselves type. What's that about? I'm gonna try to keep these things in mind while we go into the message because like I said, all this just happened. I just gave you a prior like 2D catcher message, a channel message about what just happened. So I know it has something to do with the message overall. Anywho, all right. Real quick, we're gonna talk about the story of Adam and Eve. So from what I know about the story and what a lot of other people know about the story is that Adam was placed on the planet first, then Eve came, but you understand that basically if you want to get to it, because in order to make mud, right, clay, whatever, you need the basics. You need dirt, soil, whatever you want to call it. To be soil, for it to be moist, for it to grow and be prosperous, you need water. So earth and water overall. The zodiac embodiments will start there. You got the earth signs, which is in regards to masonry. Then you got the water signs in regards to certain occultic, you know, belief systems. And that's cool. That's cool, whatever. So like, keep that in mind. Then you got oh, then you got like oh my gosh. There's a lot of good energy coming in. That's good. Then you got so people game, because I wrote these like channel messages, but God says overall message, so we're gonna get into it. And you know, like with those kind of groups, it's kind of like male populated and stuff like that. So with God doing that, right? And we already talked about in the previous class message or so, where in regards to the teachings of Jesus Christ, which would be the Son of God, right? And how I said that plays into Masonic things too. So then, knowing that about Adam and how he was created, and then God gave him that counterpart, the opposite gender, where yin and yang really started. Stretch your intuition about a particular situation. Ooh, it ain't looking good for the enemy right now. Straight utter distraction you're going through. Now, anywho's, Eve is a woman. Eve will be considered a feminine, femininity, right? So then you got a part of what Adam's supposed to be. And I already mentioned Earth and water signs, but the Earth signs are predominantly with the male populated group, right? So you would you would lean more towards the water energy in regards to women, in regards to not only occulted belief systems, but also psychic abilities and where they derive from and stuff like that. Not saying that men don't have them, but it's a difference. And we've talked about that in the prior message. And they in these depictions, people usually say when people pray, and they're looking up to God, praying to the sky, stuff like that. So I just find it interesting. You got earth and water there. You take water from there. So like, then there's something about the air element and then the fire element. So did the woman Eve not only have water energy she was working with, but air and fire, or either or? Oh my gosh. Now, when, ooh, this is why I felt this good energy. All right, good. I had went to church not too long ago. You know, I already told y'all about my ventures and stuff. So when I previously went to church, there was a teaching they was talking about in regards to, you know, when God gives you instruction. And there's something about Eve that I wanted. So this is what I want to talk about. In regards to the story we know about Adam and Eve, you know, Eve was made of Adam, created by God. So was Adam, created by God, just like all of us human beings. But the difference between Adam and Eve and what people have been talking about for the longest times is, you know, the choices they made and how the situation itself was handled. And this is why a lot of teachings in the Bible are for good moral lessons and stuff like that. Because once you understand the moral of a story, you know, you can apply that in different ways in a person's life. Adam was given instruction, like literal Gemini embodiment, communication. Gemini embodiment, lover, loved one, friend, relative, romantic, platonic, and or business partnership. Take that message out and resonate. He was given, I wouldn't say, well, I could say it. I could say it. Strict instruction from God Himself. Now, Eve was there, but what we know is God never said that to Eve. He was being he was in conversation with Adam the whole time. Yes, she should have respected, you know, the rules, but Adam was there first. Adam also was her partner, romantic partner at that. The man who is of the earth sign environment and what we know this male culture group to be was supposed to, I don't want to say in the sense have ownership of this woman, but in the sense of like a man being able to lead. Where were you? I'm not saying they couldn't have no alone time or nothing like that, but where were you to not know something like that was happening until that happened? Hmm. You know what I also noticed about Eve? I was like, all right, so what really was Eve's job then? Her job simply was within her destiny at that moment in that time for her to help this man and do what she liked to do. I'm not saying what she did wasn't wrong. We already talked about the instruction. You know what? I also learned something too, right? Because when I went to church, they were talking about one specific time about different angels and stuff like that, right? And one angel that stood out to me was that they were talking about was the seraphim, and in regards to that, is a very forgiving angel. So who's not to say? Because you know, God created the world. He put two humans on it. I'm suspecting that He would have some sort of protection. I believe they did say it was protection outside of the gate. it's something about being willing to forgive. If the I get maybe it's circumstantial. But, well, I know. So who's to say Eve didn't have a seraphim angel somewhere around her when whatever happened transpired? Because God wasn't really mad at Eve, but at the man he gave the instruction to. There's a lot of times, God will show you things, tell you things. It depends on how you communicate with him, but sometimes God will really speak to you, tell you something, or forewarn you something, not in a bad way, but just to tell you, maybe you should do this, or you should go here, or you should say something, like things like that. It's up to your discernment what you want to do about those things. But now back to Eve in regards to like her position in regards to Adam's life was to just help him. And how does he help? How does she help him? Doing what she's supposed to do, what she likes, and what doesn't bother him. See, they never came into a situation where, um, not necessarily that they were opposing each other, but they had different views on a particular experience. I don't know. And that, in a sense, is what the whole story of Adam and Eve is about. The giving instructions. Something about the number 5 is very significant. Eve. All right. So what I'm trying to say, Adam didn't know that even though was given those instructions, that even if Eve went outside those instructions, what his punishment, how that would make him feel. He didn't experience that before. So it's something about second chances too. Like in regards to something about this year. Hmm, that's interesting. So so when eat what people always talk about in regards to the spiritual community, if they're into tarot or the birth charts, so and so, because they have that Lilith placement. That's what we talked about earlier in regards to things you don't like but can be transmuted through alchemy. They always talk about there was an Eve and there was a Lilith, but we don't know of a Lilith, but it might be a mention of, and it's still historical texts and stuff like that, right? But really, Lilith is just the embodiment of what we don't like and what you do, what happens when you transmute that energy. And everybody's situation doesn't look the same depending on your placements. But what if Eve really is this Lilith character that they're claiming Lilith to be? Because in Adam and Eve, they said, "Oh, Adam made by God, man. All Eve made by God, woman, part of a man." The story overall, we talked about Eve did what she did. That's what happened. But in the story of Lilith, though, you talk about who her counterpart is. I'm giving no cosigns. I ain't giving y'all no cosigns. That's not what we're doing. That's wild. That's wild. So like, no, for real, it might be honest. Maybe what if Eve really is Lilith? Like, what if Eve has a Lilith placement? And that's what the overall embodiment is. The story is quite different. Some similarities, but like I said, once Adam and Eve was made, that was the beginning of what people call yin and yang. Something about miracles coming in now. Then, like I was talking about earlier, the seraphim. I'm like, was it seraphims that was at the gate that was like guarding the garden overall? Oh my goodness. Something about guardian angels is very significant. Then I was gonna look something up, but you know what? This message has a lot of sexual undertones, so there you go with that. If you ever want to know if that was happening there, it definitely was. Obviously, because they had children. So my guardian angels, I was told before something about like there's in the Bible they even talk about it. Supposedly there's a you know how people be saying like they're gonna go to heaven and all stuff like that, or people been to heaven or where heaven is, all the geography of all that stuff. You know, people fantasize sometimes about things like that, and they be like house of many mansions and stuff like that. And they talk about what heaven kind of is, what it looks like, and some variations in the Bible, and then people fantasize about what it would be like for them, all those type of things like that, right? I was told it's in the Bible. I actually seen it. There's a place right before a person, I guess, gets to heaven. I don't know, and there's like a hole there, and at the hole, people fall into the hole before they get to the gate. It's like they about to get to the gate and they just fall in the hole. I don't know why that was so fascinating to me. Like I'm just like, dang. And in a sense, that whole kind of like I made me start thinking about Adam and maybe why this message was like curated. Excuse me, why it was curated. So then I'm like, all right, a whole people fall into before they reach heaven. A lot of sexual undertone, making me think about Adam. And then, what do people when they're on ecstasy, like not on it, but like feeling ecstasy when they're, doing the deal, like, sexual experiences, stuff like that. When you're getting there, though some people be like, it's so indescribable, I don't know how to explain it. And some people even refer to it, it feels like, they're in, heaven. So I'm like, whole time, because symbolically, the story of Adam and Eve, in some way, have to talk about the female anatomy, the embodiment of Pisces in regards to pleasure, and how the man is not only supposed to lead, supposed to follow divine instructions from God, so that situations like this don't occur in the manner that it did. All right, that kind of, I don't say like that same kind of, like, how women are, but a man is already perceived to be in a certain type of way, and especially if this person is courting a woman, dating a woman, or is married. There's certain things they know they're supposed to do because God tells them to do it. So when not only him, but a part of him, Libra, Taurus, what else embodiment is one more? But those like in regards to astrology, tarot, and stuff like that, Empress embodiment. So I'm like, in that parallel with that, is it there a Eve and a Lilith, or is it just a Eve? Where was Adam at the whole time when Eve was doing what she was doing, but he didn't want her to do? This is before modern time society. Was like, was he taking a nap? Like, what was going on? Because this is the question you need to really be asking. Because why all of a sudden, however, history, decided in text that Lilith was a person, you got a whole nother story. Somebody could have just been working in their, because because we talked about the Earth sign, the Masonic undertone to that. Taurus would be the embodiment of Empress and a wife or a marriage. Earth sign. Virgo would be like, I don't know, like Virgo would be like, I guess what they're supposed to be to each other. Significant others, in partnership. She is of him. He is to lead. But she went off and did something he didn't like. But where was he to even know she was like, what? Like, are you not understanding? uh, so Lilith is supposed to be something you don't like. So what if this man went to go do something she didn't like to do, and she was just mimicking him, mirroring him, because she's a part of him, and she went to go do something he knew she was gonna do. But I'm not talking about in pettiness, just subconsciously. This woman, and she did like I don't gonna hold you. Eve didn't even go to go do something. Like if she did do something wrong. She did like the most wrongest, rightest thing I think she could have did, because she was just like, I'm not in the know of a lot of things. She could have just asked. For real, she just could have asked. But I don't know where Adam was at. I do not know where Adam was at. And then look how much of a like good significant other this woman is. She went got this knowledge. They wasn't supposed to get the knowledge, and they done made clothes. It's not funny, but it's like she didn't got innovated. She didn't got innovated, but it was possibly what she had to do with in regards to acquiring that knowledge in the first place. There's something about the symbolic message of the apple. But what she did, then she got in trouble um, in regards to being in partnership, being in marriage. Isn't it funny now that Trump is like saying like if people been in relationships, in-house relationships, playing house for like 5 years, they gotta get married. Soon as Adam and Eve came on this planet, they was already married. It was nothing about no ring, none of that. Like, oh my goodness. This is why I believe like when people be like, I personally know people that they meet people and they be like, I just know this person is the one. I think like it's something about inner knowing, your discernment, your relationship with God. It's something also about the embodiment of Pisces is in regards to the past, and something about past lives. But I don't like to get into that type of stuff. But all I'm gonna say about that is like just understanding the morals in regards to the meaning of a. Ooh, that was so weird. That was some weird energy right now. Understanding, just understand if you can't understand the morals of your past life. Yeah, that was interesting. All I'm gonna say is the Lilith. There's something deceptive about the Lilith embodiment in regards to what do I say? In regards to your birth chart, like the Lilith placement in your birth chart. There's something deceptive about it because Lilith is supposed to like transmute like something you don't like, basically, right? But if you transmute it, that would be something that you like. and a part of who you are because of the gift. So I was like, there's something about Eve being that water sign. So something about your moon sign is very significant because that so something about the moon sign being a deceptive karmic or vice versa with the Lilith placement. All right, that's the message.